Did I answer the question or go off on a tangent?
You kind of went on a tangent.
Baby, you're tired. I can see it in your eyes. A reflection. It's a memory that's in the sky.
Yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
I wrote No Love back in 2019 and I wanted to express a pattern that I was starting to notice in relationships where I was pretty much dating the exact same person in each new relationship, and I think at some point you come to realize that you are the common denominator.
It used to be so true when it was me and you, but now you're lying.
Many of us, we don't speak what's truly on our heart or what's truly on our mind because we're terrified of being hurt, we're afraid of being vulnerable, and so if I can be the voice of vulnerability for others to recognize that feeling within them also and to feel brave enough to express that truth for themselves, then I'm truly honored to do so.
I've forgotten how to breathe. No love, no, no love, no.
The kind of relationship that No Love is describing or exploring is a relationship that is not built on love, but rather it's the opposite. It's when two people come together and they both feel somewhat of a void within, and they might not even realize that they have that void. And it's actually the void that brings the two of them together. I think so many of us, we feel or we believe that somebody else can fill a void that's within us, and pretty soon these two come to realize that they still feel alone or they still feel unloved or sad within this connection. So it describes that feeling like when you still feel alone, even though you could be lying in the arms of someone or as close as two human beings can possibly be, and you're still feeling lonely, and it's because the other person cannot be the one to fill that void within. The void is coming from a place of a lack of love, and it's only our own connection that can fill that void. It's based on a perspective of a relationship, because truth is subjective and we only see the world through the lens of our beliefs, our perspective. So nothing has meaning until we assign it, and the thing that assigns that meaning is our beliefs. We're all going through life with these stories within, and it's our stories that dictate our reality and tell us what's true. So I came to realize that I had a story within, that I was seeing every relationship that I was in or entering into through that lens, and because of that I'd already decided the outcome. I'd already decided what was going to happen. I'd already decided how I was going to feel, and this song is an expression of that. It honors the inner wounded child within each of us. It honors the stories that we have inside, and when we change our story, now we have a new story and we can finally break the pattern that way. This particular track, it was in the space of one evening. I was in Bali at the time and I was walking down the streets in the evening time, and it started coming into my mind. So first of all I got the chorus with all of the harmonies.
No love, no, no love, no.
And then with the line, I've forgotten how to breathe. It was so strong for me at that time because it's that feeling like when you're so deeply triggered that you can't focus on anything. It's completely overwhelming. And those words, I've forgotten how to breathe, it's kind of expressive of when you're really in the midst of that trigger. Everything's spinning around you and it feels like you don't even know how to function anymore.
I've forgotten how to breathe.
And the rest of the lyrics and the melody, they just flowed and it just started to take shape, and then I got it all down just in my voice notes whilst I was walking, and then I started fleshing it out afterwards. And by the time I took the song to the studio and Chelsea and I started working on it, Chelsea just really helped me bring it to life. I had the melody and I had the lyrics, and I had a rough idea of what I wanted the music, like the composition, to sound like. And then Chelsea did a thing, hopped on the bass and recorded live bass, and then we put some chords around it on the keys, and pretty soon she'd whipped up a song. She's an absolute machine, and Chelsea is so talented. I knew it was always supposed to be Chelsea because it was always going to be about the 90s vibe. So the 90s, the classic R&B, and Chelsea was the perfect producer for that because she totally gets it. She speaks my language. Chelsea's an extremely talented multi-instrumentalist, singer-songwriter, producer. She's an absolute gun. When I sent Chelsea the demo a couple of years ago, I think, before it actually came to the studio, I just could tell that she just got it. For me, energy is so important with music. So Chelsea really felt the energy of the song and she understood the message. I said to Chelsea that if it can go with a thunderstorm, we've nailed it. The brief I gave Chelsea was thick and velvety and atmospheric that would go with a thunderstorm, so. Yeah, it's a jam. I love it. Yes, that was based on a real life situation. It was particularly challenging at the time and a little bit brutal.
Was that truth that I saw just the other night? You were sitting with another girl.
But it made a great song. Possibly / probably, yes, because of the story and the details in the song, yes, he is most likely going to know that the song is about him. Yes. The crazy thing is about when we release beliefs, it not only changes the present, so the way that we're able to see the situation in the now, and of course it changes the future because we know we're not going to go forward into any more situations seeing them that way, and so we're not going to create those kind of situations or experiences for ourselves. But it also changes the past because we can't look back and see the situation the same way we were seeing it while those beliefs were inside of our mind. So it changes everything, past, present and future. So now I look at it like a celebration of that chapter or that version of me, which is now healed and changed. I believe that love is connection, that love is an alignment to our truth and all that we are. And I think that it's a word that we use to describe a feeling, and that feeling is a connection to the universe, to our truth, to our higher self, to all that we are. So really it's down to us, whether we're seeing the world, our life, other people, relationships through the lens of love, or we're seeing it through the lens of fear. And then in the lack of that higher perspective, what's left is our limiting beliefs and our fears. And when they take the reins, the conclusions that we come to are not going to be nice conclusions, and it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right because it's not our truth. And when the beliefs and the fears get behind the driving wheel, this is when we end up in sticky situations, in relationships, in hurtful scenarios where our beliefs are telling us it's because it's something about us, that we're not good enough, we're not lovable, we're unloved. And mostly that comes down to a wounded inner child that didn't feel good enough, that didn't feel loved. And that's down to us to heal that inner child. That's not the responsibility of anybody else. And when we place our happiness and our healing in the hands of somebody else as their responsibility, we're just going to go round and round in circles until we come to that realization and that connection, and we come back to our truth ourselves. And that is love. That's what we call self-love, and that connection to our source and the greatness of all that we are, that is the key to unlocking our hearts. I had the idea to create an animation. Firstly, I wanted to express the real retro vibes of the song because it has a 90s R&B feel to it, and I wanted to bring forth that era. Even the photo shoot for the artwork, they express that 90s supermodel, messy hotel room vibes and the sad, the tragic supermodel. It's the 90s vibe and the 90s era, very much so. So with the animation and the video, I wanted to bring forward this retro vibe in the animations, and there are little pieces and details in the videos which are very retro and 90s. It's that very nostalgic kind of energy as well, and that's the whole point of this song, because I'm looking back at that version of myself. And for many of us, we can do this, right? When we've grown and we look back in hindsight, we realize, oh wow, I was seeing the situation through that lens, I was seeing those past relationships that way, and that's really not how I see it now. That was a different version of me. So I really wanted to bring those nostalgia vibes through the music and through the production into this song as well. And I found an incredible artist, Graciela. She's amazing. She really felt the energy of the song. She just fell in love with it as soon as she listened to it, and she knew exactly what I was wanting to portray. And with animation, it's kind of make or break when it comes down to the tiniest details, such as just expressions. Like if the illustrator doesn't really get what you're going for to bring forward in those expressions, it's going to change the whole tone of the video. I wanted to go with the animated approach as well, because I love art and I love blending music with art. And as soon as I saw those first sketches of the characters, I was like, yes, you totally get it, like the expressions that she'd drawn. There are some hidden meanings within the music video which people can interpret and come to your own conclusions about that, but ultimately the underlying message of the song is that with these connections where we feel deeply triggered, it's an opportunity to unlock our heart. It's an opportunity to realize what needs to be healed within us, because relationships are a mirror. They just show us where we are stuck. They show us where we're trapped and where we are lacking love, lacking truth. So it shines a light. That can be a very confronting light, but it shines a spotlight directly onto the parts of us where we are not in truth, therefore where we're not free. And any situation or scenario where we are deeply triggered, or we feel that we're not seeing through the eyes of love, that's an opportunity for us to ask ourselves why. What is within us that is causing us to see the situation that way, and what within us is wanting to be healed? No Love is just an honouring of that story that many of us don't feel brave enough to speak. You know, I feel unloved, I feel unworthy. That's a distorted perception, it's an illusion. And it's now we know it's just because we're disconnected from truth in that moment. So why do we feel so ashamed to say that? None of us are unloved. We're all loved. We're all part of the universe. Love is who we are. We believe that how lovable we are sits on a spectrum. You know, who says what makes us lovable or unlovable? It's completely subjective. Who creates that ultimate benchmark? It's just a self-perception. If we love ourselves and we know we're lovable, and we'll see that reflected back to us. This is the thing, it's never the other person, and it's never on the outside, it's just what we choose to see. So if you feel unloved and someone says to you, I love you, you still won't feel loved. And that's the whole point of the song, No Love, because it's that feeling of being alone even when you're in the arms of someone, and it doesn't matter what the other person says or does, they're never going to be able to fill that unlovable void within you, because you don't see yourself as lovable. And that's what I hope to inspire in others with this track, No Love, that they are the key to their own love, to their own happiness, and we decide whether we see ourselves as loved or we see ourselves as unloved, and that's down to us. Did you fall in love? Yes, I did. Cornetto or 99? That's an ice cream question from someone English. I'm vegan, so neither, but if there was a vegan cornetto or 99, 100% 99. Somebody asked, how long does it take you to write a song? Normally I hear the melody first, so the melody will come into my head and I kind of sing with like gobbledygook. It's not like I sing the melody, but it doesn't have words attached to it yet. It's just kind of like just light language or just nondescript, and then the human language comes in to fill that space, so that it's like the melody comes to pave the way or lay the tracks, and then the lyrics come in to express that energy. Sometimes it feels like the human language is limited, and that's the beautiful thing about music, because it gives us an avenue to express a feeling and bring it to life, give it a voice, and that's definitely what helped me with this track, with No Love. It was a feeling or a story within me that wanted to come out, wanted to be healed, wanted to come out of my body. And this track helped me to get that out because I was able to express it.
Do you have any final words? Do you want to say to the camera or?
No.
You can say bye-bye. I don't know.
Chris! Does anyone say bye-bye anymore? That's really cute.
I do to her.
Do you? Like, actually bye-bye? That's really cute, Chris. Can we acknowledge this on camera? Yes! That's going in, the final cut. Okay, bye-bye.